Welcome back, everybody, to NCC Sports Live. I'm Jake Donnelly. With me is John Garcia, and we were just talking about Paul Gasol a little bit before the break, and actually how much of an impact he had in Game 7 of the Finals, and really the entire series. And it kind of goes along with the legacy of Kobe Bryant. Tell me more about that, John.
Well, as everybody knows, Kobe Bryant has 4 rings going into this. Now he's got 5, and you know, unarguably, you have to start putting him in at least in the conversation with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, as we all know, has 6 championships to his name, and now Kobe has 5. So naturally, those comparisons are going to start coming. But Jordan didn't have what Kobe has. He did not have the big man who could complement him throughout the game on offense and defense. And Kobe had that in Paul Gasol. And as we said earlier, he started off with 2 fouls and missed a lot of time in the first half, but nobody persevered, like Paul Gasol, who made huge free throws at the end along with a bunch of rebounds, as he always does. And Michael Jordan did not have that.
No, Michael Jordan did not have Shaquille O'Neal, and he did not have Paul Gasol. 2 big men that Kobe Bryant did have. And John mentioned the fact that Paul Gasol had a big game. He's not even kidding. 19 points and 18 rebounds for Paul Gasol, really taking advantage of the lack of Kendrick Perkins. And what that ended up doing for the Celtics, they had really no defensive presence inside. They did a very good job in the paint offensively. However, they didn't do a lot of it on the inside. And it really did take the Celtics down for a while. But when we talk about the legacy of Kobe Bryant, it's not the same as Michael Jordan. He really shouldn't even be in the conversation with Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan did not have those complementary players. He had Dennis Rodman and Horace Grant for most of his career. And I'm sorry, that is not Shaquille O'Neal, and that is not even Paul Gasol. So I think that any of those comparisons are just wrong, and it was really a game won by free throws for the Lakers.
Yeah, and going along with Kobe's legacy, we did a little research here at NCC, and Jordan's 6 championships, he was the MVP all 6 times. Kobe's 5 championships, he's been the MVP twice, including last night being announced MVP, and that's drawing even more controversy because of the likes of Paul Gasol and how well he played consistently throughout the 7 games. As we all know, Kobe had a terrible game last night, forcing up shots between 2 and 3 defenders, another thing Jordan didn't do because he was more willing to pass. And I think halfway through the 4th quarter, Kobe had 1 assist. So, you know, you talk about most valuable player, not the player who scores the most, or in this case, shoots the most. Yeah. You talk about the player who dominates the game and impacts it the most, and it was clearly not Kobe Bryant. So you kind of got to question David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA, on what his motives were for, you know, influencing that decision, because I'm sure that it wasn't a unanimous vote for Kobe Bryant as MVP.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think a little bit of that motivation comes from the fact that if you put Kobe in, then everybody's going to talk about Kobe Jordan. You get a little bit more marketing. But every game that the Lakers ended up winning, Paul Gasol had a double-double. He had double-digit points in rebounds, double-digit points in points. And it was just one of those where I really do think that Paul Gasol was the MVP of this series, and that Kobe Bryant did not have his best game, especially considering he only had to play on one end of the court. And the Lakers did have that 20 free throw advantage in Game 7, which I thought was a big deal with it. However, now that the series is over, we do have something to talk about with free agency.
Absolutely. As we all know, the NBA draft is coming up very soon, but people are overlooking it because of what's going to happen starting July 1st. That's NBA free agency, and this summer it's free agency superstars galore. I mean, you can't even explain it. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant could have opted out. He decided to stay, but you got Amari Stoudemire, you got Ray Allen now. There's just, the list goes on and on. Joe Johnson, Chris Bosh. So you gotta wonder what these players are gonna do and how the tide is gonna shift in the NBA, because Kobe's gonna stay with the Lakers. But outside of that, the top superstars for every team are potentially available to move anywhere they want in the country to get that max contract that everybody wants. So it's going to be very interesting what happens on July 1st. And coming up after the break, we're going to give a little bit of predictions and where we foresee these big players going soon enough. Stay with us. Welcome back to NCC Sports Live. I'm John Garcia Jr., as always, joined by the NBA analyst Jake Donnelly. And before the break, we told you a little bit about some of the superstars who are going to be available just here in a couple of weeks. And anytime you talk about a list like that, you have to start at the top with, of course, the man, LeBron James.
Yeah, and LeBron James is going to be the story the entire time. And once July 1st hits, you're really only going to hear about LeBron James, even though there are a lot of big-name players, like John mentioned right before the break with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, pretty much every big name you can think of is going to be a free agent this summer. But I really do think that it's been cut down to two places. I see Chicago as an option, and I see New York as an option. I see New York because why not? It's New York. Yes, it's the city. But Chicago, he stays close to home. He stays close to Ohio. And the big thing that everybody forgets is that Chicago has been the place with the best player in the world, and it seemed to work out well for Chicago.
Yeah, and you got to wonder about LeBron's motives here. Obviously, he's going to get paid buku amounts of money. Whatever the guy wants, he's pretty much going to get. So you got to wonder what are the second and third and fourth deciding factors into going to these cities. And you mentioned Chicago. Michael Jordan's shadow is cast over that entire city. There's a statue of him in front of the United Center. And everywhere you go, it's Jordan this, Jordan that. And, you know, LeBron wears number 23 like Jordan did. Now he's changing it. Yep. I think he just wants to sell more jerseys. But he's changing it, you know, in respect for Jordan. And as we mentioned before, Jordan, 6 NBA championships. LeBron has been to the finals once, and he didn't win. He actually got beat pretty bad by the Spurs. So I just don't see LeBron putting that much pressure on him when he already has the pressure of being the best player on planet Earth.
Yeah, and that's really been the question for LeBron is how much of the pressure can he take? We all thought by now he was going to have at least one, if not multiple, NBA titles. And at the moment, he has 0. He has that goose egg for himself. It's 0 titles for LeBron, and it's really going to be the thing is he going to put himself in the cushiest position, which I think would be New York, or is he going to put more pressure on himself by going to Chicago with that shadow? I think it's going to be very interesting, and it's going to speak to his character and his person.
And really quick, do you see any of these superstars playing on the same team for next season?
Yes, I think Chris Bosh and LeBron James might end up in the same place.
So big news coming out of NCC Sports Live. Chris Bosh and LeBron James might play together, but we'll have to stay tuned for that on the next edition of NCC Sports Live coming to you next week. But for now, thanks for watching. I'm John Garcia Jr. As always, in with Jake Donnelly. Thanks.